It's Wellness Wednesdays with Dr. Nancy, providing helpful tips on how to live your best life now. Well, hello, everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesdays with Dr. Nancy. Today's guest is Dr. Dorothy Neddermeyer, and she is a board-certified hypnotherapist. I'd like to tell you that we are enjoying these Wellness Wednesdays, and if there's topics that many of you listeners or viewers want to know about, please shoot me an email or a message on any of these live platforms that we are coming to you on. The LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, that's Dr. Nancy's Integrative Medicine Facebook Live, and Dr. Nancy's Integrative Medicine YouTube channel. We are happy to oblige. And remember, for more information, you can text Dr. Nancy, all one word, to 26786. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Neddermeyer. All right, so she is known as a metaphysician, and that is a certified hypnosis transformation practitioner. She assists people to clear mental, emotional blocks, fear, anxiety, depression, limiting beliefs, all symptoms and diagnoses from A to Z, including past life regressions and future progressions. So let me tell you, we also have an international best-selling author and speaker. Dr. Neddermeyer, it is so nice to have you on today to talk about and dispel many myths of hypnotherapy, the conditions that are often treated, and the benefits of it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I've looked forward to this ever since you invited me. And what's the first thing we think about when we hear hypnosis?
Oh, they're going to try and mind control me or something.
Yes, mind control, or will I be like a zombie? Well, that's the myth that's out there because of stage hypnosis work. You know, entertainers use hypnosis to entertain people, and then people think that's what hypnosis is about. That's not what it's about at all. It's about using your mind the way your mind works. You go into what might be considered deep relaxation, or you might be able to recall things at will because it's stored in your brain. And that's all hypnosis is. And what I do is to help people get into a little deeper relaxation than the most people do when they meditate. Although some people do, they are able to get into a deep enough state of relaxation that they can recall things in this life, including past lives. And people have had pictures come into their mind of future lives.
Well,
So,
yeah, absolutely, Dr. Neddermeyer. I mean, honestly, people that are just riddled with stress or cannot control their thoughts or, anxiety, there's a lot of people that uh, don't have a really good quality of sleep because they can't turn their brain off. And I
correct.
understand that some of your types of therapy, this hypnotherapy and transformation, allows just what you said, to quiet the brain, to allow reflection and introspection, right? And
Absolutely.
allow individuals the healing that they desire and need to break through, to live their best lives.
Absolutely. And when you are in a relaxed state, your mind can access information that it needs. And it's interesting because when I work with people, I have a focal point of where we're going to have the session, and it unfolds that way. It isn't just willy nilly put you in a trance and expect something to come out. We have an actual, in fact, I talk to, this is going to sound really weird. You can talk to your body parts.
Well, I understand that. Being a person that believes in the creator and the universe, and when you speak affirmations to
Hmm.
yourself, it's a conditioning. So what you say over time your brain has no other option but to believe what you do in terms of allowing individuals to get breakthroughs.
Absolutely. And also to discover and process and release issues that you went through in this lifetime and previous lifetimes. Because interestingly enough, we come into each lifetime to resolve issues. And we
Yeah.
don't know that. We're not taught that. We don't realize that. And so when we have something that's going on, we may need to go to a past life in order to resolve what would be considered the original source. So it
Mhm.
isn't just in this lifetime that people have distress. It can be brought in from a previous lifetime. And sadness was what I brought in. Um, so getting unraveling sadness was something that I decided to do and went into 10 different lifetimes.
Wow.
Yes, that
Well,
many.
and so even just that, though, it could be even like simple childhood trauma as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What you're previously talking about could be like generational curses and or things like that. But even more, individuals could be harboring feelings that they had as a child and weren't able to really release those feelings in order to actually set themselves free.
Right. And the other thing that's very good is for people to understand the reason behind it. Why am I this way? What makes me like this versus somebody else? And that's for positive things as well as we could say negative things, the things that bother us. So if you're artistic, where did that come from?
Hmm.
You came into this life, neither one of your parents are artists, but yet you're an artist. Where did that come from? You brought it in with you from a previous lifetime.
That,
Or,
or others would say, because I'm playing devil's advocate here, it could be
yeah,
from a previous generation, a mother's brother's uncle, cousin was in, that field as well. But
absolutely. That
let's talk
can be
about
that can be the way that the genes get passed down, so to speak, or
exactly.
the energy. That's another thing. It's not just the genes, it's the energy that gets passed down. And you might have been in a past life with that relative. You just don't know it.
That's true. That's true. Let's talk about another myth, though, too, right? Because people think that maybe they're going to be controlled or a zombie. What is another myth that is commonly thought of when you hear the word hypnosis or hypnotherapy?
Well, that they're going to get stuck.
They're
I'll
going to
get
get
stuck. Uh-huh, I'll get stuck in I'll be walking around and I won't know what I'm doing and that sort of thing. Well, guess what? You have bodily functions that will unstick you. And I'm
that's
doing that facetiously because it's very simple. Your mind also is connected to all your body parts. And if you're hungry or if you need to go to the restroom or if you hear a loud noise, you'll pop out. It's
that's
not something that you're going to be trapped in any way, shape, or form.
Well, that makes sense. Now, as Dr. Nancy's integrative medicine, I often talk about living in two different worlds or spaces in terms of traditional healthcare practices and other treatment modalities that aren't officially recognized as traditional, such as
Correct.
hypnotherapy, right? And so
Exactly.
all of these other types of treatment modalities that don't fit into the norm, like hypnotherapy, there is a place, right? I mean, Dr. Neddermeyer, you and I have been talking about when the first school of medicine began versus when hypnotherapy was discovered as well. It was really relatively in the same time frame, and I think just like we've talked about before, mindset and perspective is everything. So, talk a little bit about how closely those types of treatment modalities were discovered in the same era, and how what the goal is to bring awareness so that individuals can make decisions for themselves to live their best life, and so to have options is the key.
Absolutely. And the history is very interesting in that the first medical school was in the United States in 1765. And then shortly thereafter, Franz, I'm sorry, Mesmer started working in mesmerizing the mind, to work with the mind at a deeper level. And he came up with the idea because he realized he could mesmerize animals, dogs in particular, because dogs are our best friend, right? So that's how hypnosis got started, was mesmerizing people after his last name, Mesmer.
Hmm.
And then Freud came much later in the early 1890s, and everyone knows about Freud, but even that history is not accurate, because the Oedipal and Oedipus complex was a revision of his original hypothesis about why people were anxious, acting out, having distress or whatever. He said it was from childhood abuse. And the constabulary did not like that. So they said, either you change that or you're not in our association or our group.
Mm.
And so he revised it to be the Oedipal and Oedipus complex. Boys are in love with their mother and girls are in love with their father. And that's not the case.
I see. And then hypnotherapist came around. What year was that?
Hypnotherapy after Mesmer, Freud backed down, and then people were still using Mesmer's work,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Okay.
weren't in the, what you could say, the constabulary that had decided that they were the best, and that was now we call it traditional Western medicine.
Correct. I have one other myth that we'd like to talk about, and then we'll move on to benefits and conditions. Now, growing up in the deep South, witchcraftery, voodooism, I've heard it all, and that is a myth when it comes to individuals being put under a trance and or this hypnotherapy processes. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Well, it also, there is some value there, but it depends on the individual practitioner versus the concept itself. So when you do get an idea of something, research it, research it, research it, and also get referrals from reliable sources, or find someone, look for someone. And of course, with the internet now, you can find people all over the world, and you can work all over the world. I work all over the world.
That's excellent, excellent advice, Dr. Neddermeyer. Now, let's talk about your book. I mean, honestly, Conceived to Lead, Dismantling the Glass Ceiling Mindset. Can you tell us a little bit, give us some highlights of the
Well,
book?
it is an anthology, and an anthology is a consortium of authors that have come together, and they write a chapter on a particular part of the glass ceiling. And mine
Yes,
was about the mindset. Mine was about how you can decide what you want and then go for it. But you need to decide first. And all those limiting beliefs that you have. I grew up on a cattle ranch in South Dakota, barefoot most of the time in the summer, and tried to do it in the snow, but it didn't work too well. I was out there in the snow, the slush, every spring, because I couldn't wait to be outside with no shoes on. And that's just one of those things where you say, "Well, you're from the country. You're just a country hick, aren't you?" Well, here I am doing what I'm doing because I believed in myself. It wasn't because I was smart. It wasn't because I had people championing me. I didn't have people telling me this is what you need to do. And it wasn't even on the radar in South Dakota when I started out.
Yeah. Believing in yourself is so important. Let's talk about some of the benefits of hypnotherapy because you and I both know that living your best life now, there's no reason why any person that's walking on this earth can't feel that way and be doing that very thing, same thing. And your theme is you can live the life you desire. And so when a person feels that way, truly believes in that, they're living to their highest potential, their highest self, their highest vibration. Tell us
Correct.
some of the benefits of hypnotherapy.
Well, you become um, stronger, you become more focused, you become lighter, and it just seems like everything brightens up. In fact, I had one lady who said to me, "The trees are greener." And I thought, "Wow, isn't that amazing?" It never occurred to me that the trees would look greener, but for her, the trees looked greener.
That's awesome.
And it feels like you don't have this weight on you, and you don't feel like you're always looking behind your back to see what you can't see, because now you know you are in charge. You are have the tools to move forward. And if you don't have a particular tool, you can find out. You can go find it,
That's
because
true.
everything we need is on this planet. We brought it with us.
That's it. It's within you to
It's
seek it
within
out.
you. And
That's
if you
exactly
need
right.
and if you need support, there's a lot of people who are willing to support you. We're
That's
all in this boat together, and we all need to support each other. And of course, we have our differences, but that doesn't mean we can't support each other in a lot of different ways.
absolutely. Dr. Neddermeyer, the conditions that you treat, I truly believe, are bridging the gap with behavioral health equity. Let's talk about,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Let's talk about the conditions. I mean, the conditions that you specialize in are not what every hypnotherapist specializes in. One, and then what is it that you do that set yourself apart from all the others as well? Those are two questions.
Oh, okay. I s- have a specialty, and that's everything. Everything from A to Z. Abdominal pain and all those words in between down to Z, which is zits, because believe it or not, people have zits, but there's a reason for that. And it's not because you're not clean or you don't wash your face enough. It is holding old gunk, because your pores need to regenerate themselves. Your pores need to push all that stuff out, and it gets clogged up, and then it can't get out, and that's where the zits come from.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. From, a healthcare professional, the gut is your second brain. And
Absolutely. Well,
how your
every
skin is reflective of your gut. And I have another provider that's going to come on Wellness Wednesdays to talk about cleaning out that colon hydrotherapy. But you're absolutely right, Dr. Nettermeyer. When you hold stuff in your gut and you're not moving things through, it's your plumbing. It does reveal itself.
absolutely, and you can talk to every cell in your body. You just need to point a finger at it and say, "Okay, I want to talk to you." In fact, last week I talked to a lady who said her endocrine system was bollocksed up and nothing was working. So we started out with talking to the thyroid. And from the thyroid, we went around lymph nodes and all the other connectors. She didn't need any pills. And I got a phone call from her the next day and said, "I'm 100% better."
Wow. It's
That was
mind
just,
over matter.
it's mind over matter. And it's also, obviously, as you had mentioned, and we know, you need to believe in yourself. I can't make you believe in yourself. I really can't. I can guide you, I can beg you, I can talk to you, but you need to put that in your own brain. And I teach people how to shift out of their old thought patterns into new thought patterns. And when you have a lapse, how to correct that without admonishing yourself. Don't admonish yourself when you make a mistake. I know our parents do that to us. Hopefully, I didn't do it to my children too much. Um, but we can
Yes.
learn without admonishing ourselves.
Words are powerful. So,
Absolutely.
out with the
Words.
old, in with the new mindset. Let's talk about some tools. First of all, one, individuals that would like to seek your services, virtual services or in-person services. How does an individual connect with you, Dr. Neddermeyer? And then
Yeah.
two,
Yeah. Hmm.
yes. And then secondarily, I was going to ask you, what tools would you give individuals that are listening to the broadcast today or when it's recorded to take away that is going to be useful for them to use every day?
Well, you said it earlier. The one key is the biggest key, I think, is believing in yourself.
Awesome.
And you've had some bumps and you have some scars and you have things that bother you, those can be sorted out. And you do that every day with your clients. And I do it every day with my clients, and it can be done. And so every person can do it. Even people that quote are what might be considered intellectually challenged, they can
Yes,
do it also. Because
absolutely.
this is not how smart you are, it's how much you're willing to accept what you have to offer, because everybody has something to offer the world and themselves.
That's right. Dr.
And
Neddemeyer, believing in yourself is so important. Starting where you are is another key essential. Who you surround yourself is key. And
a-
forgiveness, not just of others, but for yourself.
absolutely, you forgive yourself for yourself. And if the other person wants to have forgiveness, you can give that to them too. But that doesn't mean you're going to change your relationship with them, because some relationships are too broken because the other person is not willing to do their work. It has to be a two-way thing.
Exactly.
We talk about narcissists, and narcissist is the biggest word now on the planet because of our former president. And narcissists are the most difficult diagnosis to work with because they won't come to therapy, or usually they don't come to therapy. I've worked with some, but they weren't as malignant like the person that was our former president.
So the human nature is really to hang on to relationships when, they were over a long time ago. The key component that I've learned in life and in business that I personally with me as well is to meet people where they are and love them where they are because they cannot
Exactly.
go everywhere that you're going. And we all evolve and develop and learn and grow at different paces.
Absolutely. And some marriages don't need to be resolved as long as you accept what path each of you are on, because you learn from each other. And not only that, you probably chose the person that you need to learn from, and they chose you to learn from you.
Hmm.
So some of the marriages can be saved, and I do that. I save marriages as well because I work with both sides of the equation. I work with children as well. 5 is the usual age that parents are willing to let their children come to therapy.
That's right.
Sometimes younger when it's remedial therapy for a child that's having learning difficulties.
Wow. Wow. Dr. Neddemeyer, how does individuals get a hold of you? Like, how do
Okay,
they?
yeah. I forgot to mention that. Yes, I do have a website. It's Dr. Dorothy, all one word, at gmail.com or drdorothy.net. You can
Awesome.
put all that other stuff in front of it, but it's drdorothy.net. So I do have a website, and I offer a 20-minute consultation for free to answer your questions and to share with you how I would work with you, because I don't have a one size fits all program. Everything is tailored to the individual person. So when we work as a team. If something, I suggest a way to fix it. If it doesn't feel comfortable to you, I will figure another way out, because there's more than one way to resolve an issue. And then sometimes we wind up going back to what I suggested in the first place, but that's okay too.
It is. It's a collaboration. It's a partnership that you
Absolutely.
know,
It's a partnership.
it is,
Yes.
because there's no dictatorship in healthcare. And when an individual is seeking out help for a breakthrough, it takes two. It takes that back and forth conversation for the provider, the practitioner, to understand the habits of compliancy, right? It is to develop a protocol or a treatment plan that is specific for the client, but it doesn't work if they're not involved in that interaction. We want the best
Absolutely.
outcomes for sure. And then,
Well,
do you have a telephone number that you prefer, Dr. Neddermeyer? And
yes.
so the other thing was, everyone, she offers a complimentary consultation, 20 minutes for you to get a lot of your questions answered before you even decide. Not a lot of
Correct.
people do that. Dr. Neddermeyer, your telephone number, if you choose to give.
It's 480-794-1561, and it's a landline, so you can't text me. And
Okay.
I hang on to my landline because those cell phones are too heavy to hold up there.
Well, you're so connected in social media as well.
Yes.
We've messaged each other on Messenger. You're posting
Yeah,
just
Facebook, LinkedIn, Alignable, Gab, what else? What else is there? MeWe,
good. And they're all under your name,
Twitter.
Dorothy Neddermeyer. Is that how everybody finds you on social media? Is by
Yes.
you're on Twitter too. I followed you the other day.
Yes, you did, and I followed you back, so there.
I know. So, how many years have you been in the industry?
30 plus years. And it's been a journey because, as we both know, this kind of work is not the first thing somebody comes to. So it's a process of educating people. And I write a lot of articles. I answer questions on Quora. So if you want me to answer a question on Quora, you can just write your question and you can select the person that you want to have answer. Otherwise, it's a free for all. Anybody will answer. Although some people will answer anyway, even though you've requested a certain person to answer a question. But if you specifically ask me, I get a message that says you were asked to answer this question.
That's awesome. And that is that a website or a
Quora is a website. Yes, it's QUORA.com. QUORA.com. I may not be pronouncing it right, but I don't know of how to pronounce it other than Quora.
So, as another way, everyone, to get your answers, your questions answered by an expert in her field of industry, board certified hypnotherapist transformation, Dr.
Thank
Dorothy
you.
Neddermeyer. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
And thank you so much. I've enjoyed speaking with you and learning from you too.
Well, you know what? That's why it's a win-win situation, right? When you have reciprocal relationships and the gratefulness, the gratitude is there for one another.
Absolutely.
Any last parting words that you'd like to leave with the audience?
Well, I think going back to the basics, believe in yourself. And when you believe in
Yeah.
yourself,
Believe
you can
in yourself.
achieve whatever you choose to achieve. Not what somebody else wants you to achieve, what you want to achieve.
That's exactly right. Anything is possible. It's only impossible because no one's achieved it yet. So, you are what you think, you are what you tell yourself. And if that's greatness, then that's what it is.
That
That's
is true.
reality.
Absolutely.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
everyone for joining us on Wellness Wednesdays. We'll be back next week again. Have a great rest of your afternoon and a great rest of your week. And bye for now. Thanks. Bye bye.